Welcome to the question and answer section of pages 56 and 57 in Forces in Motion. This section is about free fall and circular motion. Alright, let's start with our My Planet Diary. Alright, finding yourself. The GPS, Global Positioning System, is a constellation of satellites that orbit 10,600 miles above Earth. The GPS makes it possible for people with ground receivers to pinpoint their geographic location. The first GPS satellites were placed in orbit in 1978. These early satellites were expected to operate for approximately 5 years. Newer satellites have an expected lifespan of 7 to 8 years. Let's interpret data. Use the data in the table to answer the questions below. What is the total number of satellites launched from 1978 to 2007? How many were still operating as of 2007? So, to find the total number of satellites launched from 1978 all the way to 2007, I need to add up this whole column of numbers. And you can take out your calculator and do that now, or I just separated them into two groups that I can do easily on paper, and then I added those two groups together. So my first group was 6 plus 4 plus 17. My second group was 12 plus 5 plus 11. 6 plus 4 plus 17 equals 27, and 12 plus 5 plus 11 equals 28. When I add 27 plus 28, I get 55 total satellites that were launched throughout this span of this table. Alrighty. Now, my second question, how many were still operating as of 2007, is pretty easy because I can just read that from the table. My second column is the number of operating GPS satellites. And as of 2007, I had 31 total operating GPS satellites. How many satellites stopped operating between 2003 and 2007? Now this one is a little bit more difficult, but I know that I only gained 3 satellites from this period to my 2007 period, my 2002 period to my 2007 period. I only gained 3 satellites because 31 minus 28 is 3. Now, I also know that during that period, 11 new satellites were actually launched. So, 31 minus 28 is 3. That's how many satellites I gained over that period. But 11 were actually launched, so 11 minus that 3 equals 8, and that means that I actually lost 8 satellites in that period. If you have some questions about that, please just raise your hand and ask now. Alright. Let's move on to page 57. We're going to be doing our math section right over here. So, here's our question. Suppose you had a chamber with no air, eliminating the force of air friction. Complete the table below for an object that is dropped from rest. Remember the formula, velocity equals acceleration times time. The acceleration, due to gravity, is 9.8 meters per second. Now, we want to find out velocity for our times of 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 seconds. Velocity is pretty easy to solve for because velocity equals acceleration times time. Our velocity for all of these equations stays the same. You'll notice I wrote down 9.8 meters per second squared 5 different times, and our time factor is only changing by 1 each time. we have 0 seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and 4 seconds. So since velocity equals acceleration times time, all I did was take our velocity due to gravity times time. And when I punched that into my calculator, it was pretty easy. 9.8 times 0 is 0. 9.8 times 1 is still 9.8. 9.8 times 2 is 19.6. 9.8 times 3 is 29.4. And lastly, 9.8 times 4 is 39.2. And remember, all of these will be in units of meters per second, which makes sense, because when I take meters divided by seconds squared times seconds, my seconds over here is going to cancel out with one of my seconds over here and just leave meters per second. Just double checking and make sure that I got my units right for velocity. Let's move on to assess your understanding. I get it. Now I know that free fall is, same as it's written up here, motion where the acceleration is caused by gravity. Now I know that free fall is motion where acceleration is caused by gravity. Please take this time to write down anything that you would like some extra help with. Thank you.